Aging isn't just about growing older. It's about seeing life through a new lens, one shaped by experience, resilience, and sometimes hard-earned wisdom as we enter our later years. We face challenges that test the beliefs we once held in our youth. But here's the truth. Understanding these realities can empower you to protect your dignity, nurture your happiness, and reclaim your sense of self. Did you know that some of the most important lessons for living longer, truly longer, don't come from doctors or wellness gurus? They come from hard truths, quiet truths, the kind of wisdom you don't hear in casual conversation because, frankly, most people are afraid to say it out loud. But let's be clear about something. Growing older doesn't mean disappearing. It means becoming more seen, more powerful, more wise. It means waking up one morning and realizing, this is my time. Not a second-hand version of life, not a shadow of who I used to be, but a deeper, richer chapter filled with clarity, choice, and courage. But to truly live longer, not just in years, but in energy, peace, and soul, you must be willing to face some uncomfortable realities. Not everyone will like these truths. Some will feel raw, some may even sting. But they're necessary, because avoiding them is what keeps us small, quiet, tired, drifting instead of living. So today, I invite you into a new kind of conversation, one where we stop sugarcoating and start speaking boldly. You're not fragile, you're not irrelevant, you're not too old, you are powerful, and it's time to start acting like it. Welcome back to Signs for the Elderly, the channel where we help you age with grace, strength, and joy. If you're over 60 and care about your health, independence, and well-being, you're exactly where you need to be. Before we dive in, take one brave second to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a life-changing message. And if you're here because you're ready to grow, really grow, drop a comment below that simply says, I'm ready. Because by the end of this video, you might just walk away with a completely new perspective on what it means to truly live. Okay, let's start with the first tip of the 7 tips I'm going to share with you. Tip 1. Stop trusting everyone who smiles at you. Let's start with one of the hardest lessons of all. Not everyone who shows up smiling is here to love you. We learned this from Henry, a retired Navy veteran, 74 years old. Widowed for 3 years, a man with a heart bigger than most people's capacity to hold it. He was always the helper, the guy who fixed neighbors' sheds, watched grandkids on weekends, and still delivered soup to sick friends. But when he started getting lonely, when the nights stretched longer and the silence grew heavier, he met someone new. Her name was Lisa. She was friendly, helpful. She'd stop by the grocery store for him, offer to organize his garage, sit and chat over coffee. She told him she admired his kindness, that she reminded her of her own late father. She even brought her kids around, calling him Uncle Henry. And slowly, Henry let her in. He gave her a key to his house just in case, let her borrow money when she hit a rough patch, signed a few checks to help with bills. It wasn't long before he handed over control of some of his online accounts to help manage things. Then one day, she was gone. No note, no call, just gone. And so was most of Henry's savings. He didn't tell anyone for weeks. He was embarrassed, ashamed, but mostly he felt betrayed. Because it wasn't about the money. It was about how easily someone exploited his goodness. Here's the truth. When we age, we often become more open-hearted, more willing to believe in people. But predators know this. Manipulators sense it. According to AARP, scams targeting older adults are rising each year. Loneliness, memory loss, and a deep desire for connection make seniors more vulnerable to manipulation, even from people they thought were family or friends. And the most heartbreaking part? It's not always strangers. Sometimes it's the neighbor who needs help. Sometimes it's a distant cousin who suddenly cares. Sometimes it's your own child. But here's your power. You don't have to live in fear. You just need to live in discernment. Your kindness is a treasure, but not everyone deserves access to it. Watch their patterns, not just their words. Trust is beautiful, but it must be earned. And the most powerful word you'll ever say to protect your peace, it's no. Henry's story isn't a tale of failure. It's a story of awakening. Today, he volunteers with a senior advocacy group. He teaches others how to set digital boundaries, protect assets, and say no, without guilt. I may have lost some money, he says, but I gained something more valuable, my dignity back. Tip 2. Stop living to please everyone else, even your kids. Let's talk about Gloria. Gloria is 69, a mother of 4, grandmother of 7. Her life? It's been one long ribbon of sacrifice. She worked double shifts to pay for braces, sold her jewelry to help one child through college, canceled vacations to babysit. She said yes, even when her body screamed for rest. And yet, one autumn morning, sitting alone on her porch, wrapped in a blanket, sipping lukewarm coffee, she whispered a question aloud she had never dared say before. When is it my turn? Tears came, not the dramatic kind, just the quiet kind. The kind that come from years of unspoken dreams. The kind that carry the weight of birthdays missed, hobbies abandoned, rest deferred. And this is what so many older adults don't want to admit. We're taught that sacrifice equals love, that to be good we must be available, all the time. And for decades, maybe we needed to be. But what about now? You're older, wiser. You have fewer years ahead than behind. And still, you're putting everyone first? Here's the hard truth. If you wait for someone to give you permission to start living for you, you might wait forever. Your family doesn't mean to take advantage, but they've grown accustomed to you always saying yes. They don't see the cost because you never show the receipt. Gloria finally did something radical. She started saying not today. She booked a solo train trip along the West Coast, signed up for a pottery class. She even stopped answering the phone after 7 p.m. And guess what? Her family adjusted. I used to think saying no would make them love me less, she said, but now I realize I needed to love myself more. So if you're still watching, I want to ask you directly, have you been putting your life on hold to meet someone else's needs? Comment, "It's my time," if you're ready to reclaim your joy. You've spent decades pouring into others. Now, it's time to pour into yourself. Tip 3. Cut off toxic people, yes, even family. This one may be the hardest of all because it challenges everything we were raised to believe. Family is everything. Blood is thicker than water. Always forgive. But here's the truth they don't teach you. Blood doesn't give someone the right to bleed you emotionally. Respect is earned, not inherited. Meet James, 75th. A retired mechanic with hands that still carry grease under the nails. A man who loved his son more than life itself. But that son, now in his 40s, only called when he needed something. He'd shout, belittle, demand money. Never visited unless there was a favor to ask. James endured it for years because it was his son. Until one day after a particularly cruel phone call, he sat in his garage and wept. Not because of what was said, but because he realized he was scared of his own child. That day he made the decision, no more. He didn't scream, he didn't accuse, he simply stopped answering calls. I still love him, James told me, but I choose peace now. Some people will tell you that setting boundaries with family is cruel, but here's what I say. Allowing yourself to be emotionally abused over and over again isn't love. It's self-neglect. You are not cruel for choosing peace. You are not heartless for walking away from pain. You are wise. You've earned the right to surround yourself with people who uplift you. Let go of those who only drain you. If this resonates with you, I want you to comment below, I choose peace. Because this chapter of your life, it's not about enduring more pain, it's about choosing more joy. Tip 4. Let go of the need to be thanked. Some truth comes slowly, through the cracks in our memories. Others arrive all at once. Eleanor was 73 when hers arrived. It came on a day that should have been joyful, her daughter's wedding. Eleanor had spent the past year planning every detail. She pored over menus, sewed the lace on her daughter's veil by hand. She even dipped into her savings to cover a last-minute venue change. On the big day, she stood in the back of the reception hall, watching her daughter dance, glowing with happiness. Eleanor smiled, glass in hand, but her heart was heavy. As speeches were given, names were thanked. The groom's family, the caterers, even the neighbor who brought cupcakes. But not once was Eleanor mentioned. She felt invisible in a room where she had made everything possible. Afterward, no one noticed the way she wiped her tears in the bathroom, or how she rode home in silence. But that night, as she sat on the edge of her bed, something shifted. "I can't keep waiting," she whispered to the dark. "If I'm living for a thank you, I'll never truly live." We don't talk enough about the ache that comes from not being seen, especially when you've given your life to others. You sacrificed. You stayed up late. You carried burdens without complaint. You showed up, always. And deep down, you hoped someone would notice. That one day a child or spouse or friend would look at you and say, "I see you. I appreciate you. I couldn't have done it without you." But sometimes that moment never comes. And here is the hardest truth. If you're waiting for a thank you to feel valuable, you may wait the rest of your life. Let that sink in. Now here's the liberating part. Your value is not tied to someone else's recognition. What you did matters. What you gave mattered. What you continue to give matters. Even if no one says it. Even if no one claps. Even if your name is never mentioned. Eleanor used to keep a box of old cards and mementos in her closet. After the wedding, she took them out, but not to cry. She read through each one, whispering to herself, "This happened. I did this. I was love in action." And she began something new. She started writing herself thank you notes. "Thank you, Eleanor, for the soup you made when your son was sick. Thank you for the hug you gave your neighbor after her husband died. Thank you for showing up." It may sound silly, but those notes became sacred, a way to affirm her own worth. And now she teaches others to do the same. Because when you stop living for applause, you start hearing something even more powerful, your own voice. The one that says, "You were always enough." Tip 5, stop saying, "I'm too old to change." Carlos was 80 when he did something he never thought he would do. He learned to swim. It started on a hot summer day, sitting by the community pool. He watched his grandkids splash, swim, laugh, but he stayed on the sidelines, fully clothed, sweating. "I never learned," he confessed to his daughter, "and now I'm too old." His granddaughter looked up and said, "But Grandpa, you always say it's never too late." That night he couldn't sleep. He remembered all the things he'd once wanted to do: travel, paint, speak another language. But over time he had stopped trying. He had begun to believe a lie, that life was done teaching him. So the next morning Carlos signed up for a senior swim class. The first day he trembled. He clung to the wall, heart pounding. But a kind instructor named Maya held out her hand. "You're not too old," she said. "You're right on time." It took him 3 weeks to float, 2 months to do a full lap. By the end of summer, Carlos was diving off the side. "I figured," he said, "if I have breath in my lungs, I still have time to grow." So let me ask you, how many times have you told yourself, "I can't do that. I'm too old"? How many chances have you passed up? How many adventures have you let slip away? How many times have you dimmed your light before someone else even asked you to? Let me tell you something with every ounce of love. Your age is not a wall, it's a doorway. You are not set in your ways. You are not past your prime. You are not finished. You are alive. And that means change is still possible. Whether it's learning to dance, taking up a new instrument, moving to a new city, or simply saying, "I want something different," you have every right to evolve. Carlos now swims every Tuesday and Thursday, but he didn't stop there. He joined a Spanish class. He paints in the mornings. He even went on his first solo trip to Costa Rica. "I used to think the best part of my life was over," he said. "Now I know. It was just beginning." So if you've ever said the words, "It's too late for me," I dare you to comment, "I'm not done yet," because you're not. You are becoming right now. Tip 6, stop living in the past. It's not your home anymore. The past can feel like a warm blanket. Old songs, photo albums, letters tucked in shoeboxes, the way your mother laughed, the smell of your childhood kitchen, the feeling of your first kiss. But sometimes what feels like warmth is actually a weight. Margaret knew this well. She was 76, widowed, and living alone. Every afternoon, she'd sit by the window with a cup of tea, flipping through albums, Pictures of her wedding day, of her children when they were small, of vacations and birthdays and simpler times. One day her granddaughter came to visit. She found Margaret sitting there, tears in her eyes. "I just miss it all," she whispered. "Back then, I was really living." Her granddaughter gently took her hand. "But Grandma," she said, "what if you still are?" We don't mean to live in the past, but grief, regret, and nostalgia can make it feel safer than the present. We tell ourselves, those were the good years. I was stronger then. I mattered more. But here's the truth. You have stories, yes, but you're still writing one. Don't miss today's page because you're stuck rereading yesterday's. You don't have to erase the past, but don't build your future in it. There is a time for everything, a season for every emotion. Ecclesiastes says, "To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven." Maybe this is your season to let go, to make peace with what was, to live, really live, with what is. Margaret did something simple. She put away the albums, not forever, but for now. She started journaling one sentence a day about what brought her joy today. The smell of fresh bread, a kind word from the mailman, the way the sunset hit the trees, and slowly her present became just as precious as her past. "I didn't lose my life," she said. "I just stopped noticing it." So today we challenge you, make now your new favorite memory. Tip 7, moderate your escapes, including overindulgence. There's a quiet kind of coping that no one talks about. It doesn't always look like crisis. Sometimes it looks like one more snack before bed, one more episode, one more glass, one more hour scrolling, one more day staying inside. It doesn't scream, it just slowly numbs. Elaine, 70, realized it one afternoon when her granddaughter came over and said, "Grandma, why is the TV always on?" Elaine froze. She had no answer. She thought back. It had started with her husband's passing. The loneliness, the silence, the ache. So she turned on the television and left it on. For hours, for days. It was noise, comfort, escape, but also a trap. She stopped going for walks, stopped baking, stopped seeing friends. "It hit me," Elaine said. "I wasn't living. I was distracting." Escapes aren't bad. We all need them. But when escape replaces engagement, we lose our spark. If it numbs you but doesn't nourish you, it's costing you your future. Experts say dopamine-driven habits, like binge eating, endless scrolling, or even compulsive self-pleasure, give a false sense of joy. They trick the brain into comfort, but long-term they dull our motivation, our connection, our aliveness. So what can we do? Moderate, don't eliminate, rebalance. Elaine didn't quit TV. She made a deal with herself. 1 hour a day, that's it. Then she started reading again, took walks, invited friends over. It's not about giving up comfort, she says. It's about choosing fulfilling comfort. Because life's greatest pleasure isn't escape, it's meaning. And that's something you can still create, right now. So if you've been living in the blur, hiding in the scroll, numbing through routine, take one brave step back. Ask yourself, what actually fills me up? Then chase that, because your soul doesn't want to hide. It wants to be awake. And you were born to feel alive. Let the world see it. You're not done yet. Let's take a deep breath together. Not just because you've made it to the end of this video, but because what you've just done is brave. You've dared to look at life through a clearer lens. You've faced hard truths. And most importantly, you've chosen hope over habit. Because growing older is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of the part you finally get to write for yourself. You are not here to fade into the background. You are not here to be silent. You are not here to slowly disappear. You are here to awaken, to live wisely, to speak boldly, to choose freely, to love fiercely, and to realize, perhaps for the first time, you have earned the right to a joyful, powerful, and free life. You've heard the stories, you've walked through the truths, and maybe something inside you feels lighter now, or stronger, or even a little emotional. That's good. That means your heart is still alive and open. Let's remember what we've learned, that your kindness is a gift, but it must be protected, that your time is sacred, and doesn't belong to anyone who only takes. That setting boundaries is not mean, it's necessary. That your worth isn't found in someone's thank you, it's found in your own reflection. That age is not a prison, it's a passage to more. That the past is a chapter, not a cage. That escape is not living, but choosing meaning is. Every one of these lessons has a face, a voice, a name. Eleanor, Carlos, Margaret, Elaine. And maybe now, yours too. So let me ask you, from the heart, which tip hit home for you the most? Was it Eleanor's quiet strength? Carlos's joyful leap into the unknown? Elaine's return to meaning? Margaret's rediscovery of the present? Drop the number of the tip that stirred something inside you in the comments below. Then tell us, how will you reclaim your peace? What will you stop giving away? What will you start choosing for you? Because your story, your voice, it matters. And this is not your closing chapter. It's your opening line. If this video moved you, don't let it stop here. Like it. Share it with someone who needs these truths. Subscribe if you haven't yet. We're building a community of truth tellers, boundary setters, and joyful late bloomers. People who refuse to fade quietly into the background. People like you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your heart. Thank you for your courage. Until next time, stay strong, stay free, and stay awake to the beauty that still lives in every single moment ahead. We're rooting for you. With all our heart, dear Seniors Life.